I think when we were approaching Alice in Wonderland, it was really important that we made it different. We said, let's set it in the 30s, let's set it on a Hollywood soundstage, and then bring all those iconic characters into the scene in a different way.
You can imagine to the mindset of a child being on a soundstage would be like Wonderland. It is just this other world where magic is created and things happen. And because that was just the absolute peak of cinema history and development in that stage, I think that's a wonderful place to stick our story.
To bring Wonderland to life through the design and the choreography and the music, I think all three have to be able to talk to one another and tell the same story.
I think the most rewarding part of the creative process is when you actually see all these incredible creatives come together and the production is born. For me, the first thing I wanted to do when we were going into the 1930s is actually do all the research. So I wanted to look at old films, Ginger Rogers, Fred Astaire, see what their movement was like. The thing that really stood out was the lack of arm movements for the dancers back then. It was really free and really fluid, but sort of this sense of freedom with the upper body where the artists were just kind of playing. For me, I never want a story to have just dance for dance sake. I think it's really important that characters are moving in a way that takes the story forward and for there to be growth in the characters. So for this particular story, Alice is absolutely the key, and I want the audience to see that she has grown and changed and developed as a person. The most challenging thing for this production is that there's a lot of characters and a lot of different characters doing different things at the same time. It's 5 different characters doing 1 minute of choreography, which means I have to work harder.
The era is the 1930s, so the silver screen or the glamour and beauty of the 30s. To make the balance for a costume to deliver a message as their character and to be able to move in it, a costume must be functional. If it doesn't work, then the dancer can't work. They can't relax. They can't be immersed in what their job is. From my perspective, that the way that a costume works on a body, as well as how it looks, they're just as important. They have to be functional. The most rewarding part of designing Alice has just been the ability to incorporate so much colour and colour combination. So nothing is quiet, it's all big, and which has been really enjoyable actually. My journey began in the design process for Alice in Wonderland when I first heard Lucas's little grab of music, and the very first pop of creativity started bubbling away in my mind when I heard his music.
I've very much a hardcore classical background, but because we're going into the 30s again, I wanted to infuse that world into it, so this fusion of jazz in the 20s and 30s is a really big change. And I always visualised the 30s particularly as sort of like a beautiful lens flare, but there's a beauty and purity in seeing 30s, and that's why I think Alice will work in this environment. What's foreign for me as a composer is that I'm not initially a jazz composer. Every single one of the characters has to have a motif because I think it's important to tell their story as we go along. That's a very cinematic device. So particularly things like Hatter, another character who I love and adore, I wanted some funky blues.
I would love the audience to feel like they had gone on a journey and what they see stimulates their imagination.
I wanted this show to be very cinematic, old school Broadway fun. That's what I want, a huge spectacle. Ballet too is an enjoyable, extraordinary art form.
This is Alice in Wonderland like you've never seen it before. We hope to see you at QPAC in January.
Cut!